Here. Uh, Hello, everybody. Um, yeah, hope everyone's been doing well this past month and enjoying the beautiful but warm weather. Um, as you can see, it looks like folks are pretty busy this evening. We only have two of our committee members on. So I think what I'm going to do, and unfortunately, committee member Gall has to head out in a moment. So I think what I'm going to do is we're just going to hear from our attendees, which is Captain Murphy in the audience, or another representative from MPD, and then also I see you there, Gene. So I would love to hear from you guys if you have any updates for us. And then otherwise, I think I'm going to table our agenda for the following meeting. Um, the agenda that we were going to discuss tonight was going to be primarily, um, looking at there's an alley on Ninth Street that a lot of neighbors have been having issues with, where there's folks doing drugs and having car parties back there. It's my understanding that the T Street Task Force has been working on that some, so I was hoping to just hear if there's any bit of progress that's been made on that. And then also, we're working on a resolution on safe passage, calling for the expansion of safe passage to elementary schools. And so you know, I, our committee member Trebet was going to work on that. But I haven't been able to get in touch with her, so perhaps committee member Duhan will be stepping up to take up the mantle of that resolution and get us all a draft for the next meeting. Um,
Yeah, I know I was going to be working on that with her. We haven't had a chance to have a meeting because had personally done a substantial amount of work with that beforehand, but
mhm.
not in the context of the ANC. So I was looking forward to hearing exactly what Leah had decided to do.
Mhm.
So but I guess once you deliberate on exactly how you want to pursue that, I'm
Mhm.
still on board to assist.
Great. Well, I think what I'm going to do is I'm just going to send an email to you and Leah and to Julius, and if Leah's able to help, great. But if not, since I was trying to get in contact with her, but wasn't able to, then I think maybe you and Julius can take the lead on it. I mean, it sounds like you've thought about this a lot, Karen. So yeah, definitely if you have ideas or
It
anything that
wasn't a
I
thought;
haven't
it was
considered.
actual work. It wasn't a thought; it was a lot of actual work in that.
Yeah.
It was a hefty amount of work that had
Good.
actually
Great.
been done with it, but it was under 3D CAC.
I
And
see.
but in regards to ANC 1B, I just try to categorize my work that I do with the community on that level. But it was a hefty amount of work that was done. But I am, of course, me wearing my more than one hat. I'm trying to make sure that I
Good.
can contribute as much as I can for that. I do
Yeah.
have quite a bit of things to add to it when you're ready to work on it. Okay.
Okay, well maybe Julius can take a stab at a first draft and then you can comment on it or add in more, or does that sound good, or is it
Look, hey, that's why I'm here.
yeah.
We're determined to make ANC 1B stand out to be the best in public safety ANCs across DC. So I'm here, Julius. So anything we're ready to do, that's what we're here to do. Okay.
I see committee member Nakapan has joined us as well.
Excellent. Good evening, Nakapan.
Good evening. Apologies, I couldn't find the Zoom link, and I'm in the car at the same time, but I should be at my desk. Great to see you all.
Yeah, great to see you too. Thanks for joining. Well, since we have a critical mass of a few committee members, then I think we might as well go through the agenda. We've already discussed a couple things, but yeah, first I'll just do the roll call. So committee member Duhan, are you present?
Yes, I am.
Great. And committee member Gall
Present.
and committee member Funjaforn. Apologies if
Present.
I'm still mispronouncing your last name,
Oh no,
Nakapan.
that's fine. Close enough. Thank you.
Um, Great. Okay, well then we have three committee member Trebet not present, and let's see. Great. Well, let's proceed through the rest of our agenda then that we have here. So, yeah, we've done our roll call. Next, I was hoping to hear from MPD about, crime updates in the area. Then the third item on the agenda, public safety challenges in the alley between 1900 Ninth Street and 8th Street Northwest. So I believe that our representative from MPD should be able to speak to that. Captain Nelson said that someone could be on to speak about the issues that we're facing in that alley and how the MPD is trying to address it. Can see if there's anything more that the ANC can advocate for on that front. And then our fourth item was the safe passage resolution, calling for the expansion of safe passage to elementary schools. And our fifth item is, the Beta Academy's DPR partnership application. So I want to check in about that with you, Nakapan. And then, yeah, community announcements at the end. So relatively light agenda. Great. Well, without further ado, let me allow Captain Murphy to speak, or whoever from MPD is using his Zoom. Hello, hello. We cannot hear you if you are speaking.
Captain Murphy, are you on?
It's Lieutenant Hiller. Hiller, can you guys hear me now?
Yes,
Yes,
ma'am.
yes. Thank you for
Okay.
joining.
Hi, good evening. I'm a little busy here since I'm the third district watch commander right now. We got several things working on right now. So I'm gonna be brief. PSA 305. Tomorrow starts the drug-free zone in the area of U Street corridor, Vermont 9th Street, B Street. It will be starting tomorrow at uh, 0800 hours until April 20th at 05900 hours. So with this, we will be monitoring, all these juvenile takeovers that have been around the city. Hopefully, we have a smooth weekend. And we're gonna be out there. Nightlife officers will be in the area as well as the curfew cars. We usually have cooperation from other district to respond. I'm not sure if the curfew zone will be established this weekend, but we do have established the curfew drug-free zone for the PSA 305. Property crimes are going down. Some theft are going up, but violent crimes generally are uh, basically down compared to last year. And that's all I have.
Great. Thank you very
Any
much.
other question?
Yeah, any quick questions for Lieutenant Hiller?
I spoke to the commander earlier, so I'm good. Thank you, Lieutenant.
Thank you.
I had a quick question. I've heard that we have our youth are responding to the curfew by going out earlier or moving to areas just outside of the curfew zone. Have you witnessed that or experienced that happening?
Well, usually when this groups of juveniles come around to U Street to Georgia Avenue, and they try to meet in Banneker Recreational Center.
Sure, yeah.
So yeah, that's not part of the basically drug-free zone for us.
Mhm.
That is established for this week. But yes, usually what we usually have to say, they like to hang out around the McDonald's on Georgia Avenue, right there.
Mhm.
So we usually, when this start happening, we try to contact park police, park recreation to basically close the park of Banneker. We
Mhm.
continue monitoring them, their activity as far as it's peaceful. If it's the curfew is once the curfew is established, then we intervene. Give, if it's a group of 9 or more, we give them several warnings to disperse and go home. Um, and basically, if they do not comply, then yes, we stop them, identify them, and try to take them home and to their parents.
Hmm.
Yeah, so yes, there have been some activity outside of the U Street corridor.
Got it. Well, thank you very much for joining. I mean, my
Thank
last
you.
question, I know you're busy, is just the block, the 1900 block of Ninth Street on the east side. There's that alley, and I've been hearing from a number of neighbors that they're having a lot of issues with people, partying in their car, lots of people using drugs back there, some homeless people living back there as well at various points. Um, I'm curious if you all how you all are responding to that situation.
Yes, I believe we sent an email like several weeks ago because I've read about that in through email.
Yeah,
Some
yeah.
residents were complaining about some drug use in their sometimes right beside their backyards. We have established like special attention. So on the evening and midnight shift,
Mhm.
we try to cover that area. Officers, drive around and either on foot. If the nightlife officer in the area, they can go and check the area. So we got a special attention. The thing with the special attention is that if the officer have a call for service, like a priority call, they have to respond to the call. So they have to leave the area.
Hmm.
And unfortunately, sometimes it's out of our hands. Sometimes these
Hmm.
people know when the officers leave the area, and then that's when they commit their, the crimes and their stuff they're doing. So
Sure, of course. Well, I mean, it is covered by the drug-free zone, correct?
yes,
So
yes,
that is certainly one tool that you all will have now.
yes. In this week, that is covered through the drug-free zone. Believe that usually is during the midnight shift. Most likely late midnight, early hours in the morning, I heard.
Hmm.
So we do have nightlife officers around that area. Sometimes they walk around through the alleys. When I was a nightlife, unfortunately, I'm not a nightlife lieutenant anymore. I'm on
Hmm.
the evening shift, so I don't work midnights.
Hmm.
But Captain Murphy is aware of that, and we usually try to give special attention to that area. But it's we have to encourage the citizens. So once they see something, call
Hmm.
911. No matter how even if they don't have to identify themselves, they can do it, unanimously and call and give a good description of the person or what they're doing, what are they
Hmm.
walking, what direction they're walking, so an officer can respond and can intervene with the suspect or suspects.
Great. Yeah. Well, that's it's good to hear that you all have it on your radar and you're paying special attention to it, and the drug-free zone will um, cover that area uh,
Yes.
for the
Hopefully
next.
it helps.
Hopefully. Yeah.
Yes.
Great. Oh, committee member Duhan.
That was an accident. Sorry.
Oh,
Great. Well, I will leave you to your work, Lieutenant Hiller. Thank you so much for
all right.
joining
Thank you
despite
so much.
your busy schedule.
Yes, no problem. Thank you.
Have a
Thank
good
you.
night.
Thank you. Good night.
Great. Well, does anybody have any other comments about the situation on Ninth Street, particularly that alley? I have, there's been a number of meetings and walks that have been going on. I don't know, Karen, if you have any readout from the T Street Task Force or any of the recent public safety walks that have happened in that area. Um,
There is a considerable amount of work that's being done. I
mhm,
didn't again, like I said, some of the stuff that I've been doing, it was not within the ANC, but we're trying to bring it into the ANC so the ANC can, do their diligence in it
mhm,
now. And I think at this particular point, the ANC involvement has started with they did a walk in February. Um, I am going to see what I can do to consolidate the efforts that we did prior to getting the ANC involvement in it so that it won't
Mhm.
be we won't be duplicating efforts, hopefully.
Mhm. Yeah, I don't
So,
want to duplicate. I definitely want to find areas where we can just help amplify what's needed, and then, I'm hearing directly from different constituents, so I want to make sure that some of their more particular concerns, such as like parking enforcement, are being addressed.
okay, okay. Well, I think whatever list that we can compile,
Hmm.
it's always great that we collaborate properly together.
Totally.
And I think also, and as you already know, I'm a very action oriented personally, and I like to work with actual. I don't meetings is one thing, but getting the actual work done to make sure that people can see the results is the way
Totally.
in which I want to see it personally. So that's my driving force with these meetings, so that we actually have an action item list and that we
Hmm.
can really showcase that the work is being done as opposed to always having discussions on it. So hopefully, when we come together and we have that meeting, and it's grounded in that level, that's where I will be coming in. That's my objective. Hopefully, everyone else can be on that same page. That way, we can all work together well. So at this particular time, what my goal is to try to bring forward the things that have been done,
Okay.
but I will continue to make sure, for full clarification for you as well, that the work is still going to be done in spite of involvement from the other team members, even if they, because sometimes people get stagnant. I really, really want the work to be done. So if that's your energy level, I think we're going to do a great job together.
Sounds good. Yeah. Well, I'm glad that you're aware of it. I'm glad that MPD is aware of it. I know that there's a lot of different efforts going on to address this area. There's the T Street Task Force, there's the walks that are happening, there's the 3D CAC, there's these public safety committee meetings. So, yeah, I do think it would be worth trying to think about how can we all coordinate, because it's tough with all the different schedules and meetings and times that things are happening.
Well, the
Um,
cool part is the T Street Task Force comes under 3D CAC and
sure.
3D CA.
Well,
So,
under the mayor's office, actually, but
well, I actually started the task force,
yes, yes, yeah.
and the mayor's office I feel is working with making sure that the Mokers are highly involved with it. But the goal is to ensure that we are all working together and getting those results. The
Totally.
past 2 years is when I started making sure that everything was really, really concrete and following the action item list. So I
Hmm.
think that we're doing a great job. We've accomplished a lot of things
Definitely.
because beforehand I sort of had tried to get it under another one of the organizations under the mayor's office, and it was just fizzling. And but
Hmm.
under the direction with the Mokers is working a little bit differently. So we
Hmm.
went from we used to have the mayor's office, the nightlife task force that was doing it. They had their but then that department, it defaulted into, now it's on only Mokers. So
Yeah,
you see how things works in the best directions that they need to work in,
totally.
especially for the
Totally.
community. And
And I
because if you
definitely applaud you starting it and continuing to see it through. I definitely think it's the best, seems like the best venue for continuing to work on some of those
yeah,
really
because it's
hyper
all
local issues to that T Street.
Mokers, their main aim is, the mayor has it so they do work on
Hmm.
beautification of the city. The
Sure.
nightlife is just That was the enforcement where the MPD was involved. So
Mm,
if we, everybody can wear the proper hat and the proper people in charge, but the mayor is in charge of all of it. So hey, guess what?
yeah,
We need to make sure that everything is running by the people who are supposed to be doing their job. But the goal of 3DCAC is just to make sure that we do some tracking to see how things are working, and as long as everybody is at the table and working together, that's a win-win, right?
totally, totally.
Yeah.
That is a win-win. We've come a long way. I can tell even in just the last couple of years.
Yes,
Well,
definitely. So that
yeah.
was it. But and I think you said, and I know I'm gonna have to run in a couple of seconds. I got a alert just a few minutes ago. So you said
Mhm.
you were doing the safe passage. Is that the next thing on your agenda, or have you already discussed that enough?
Yeah, safe passage was next on the agenda. I know we talked about it a bit at the top, but it sounds like the plan is, you know, Julius is kindly offering to step up to the plate to write a draft, and then he can send that out to yourself as well as, I think he should just send it out to the full committee, and we can all leave comments, suggestions, red lines. I know that, Julius is no expert on safe passage, but I'm sure the collective wisdom of the committee can
I've
can
written
help
some
keep everything
resolutions, at
up.
least, at least.
Yeah, yeah.
I look. He has great advisors. I think that we all can advise him well. And
Totally.
my phone definitely works. I haven't turned it off yet, so feel free to ring me up if you need me. And and I'm always happy to help. And I appreciate you.
Mhm.
So was that it, Francois? And I'm not rushing you, but
No,
please
no, no.
forgive me. I want to make sure that I can attend to whatever it is that you need me to help you with. That's all.
No, no, I appreciate it. I think that's it. I think we're gonna have Julius do the first draft. He's gonna send it out. We're gonna give comments, and then we're gonna at the next meeting take another look at it, and hopefully get it to the point where we can vote on it and send it to the full ANC. Definitely before, I definitely want to get this done in the next couple months. Certainly before the next school year. Obviously, it takes time for these things to happen, but I think that that would just be a good goal for the committee. And it's a
Yeah.
pretty simple ask at the end of the day, right? We have a program that seems to be doing some good, and we want to, try expanding it to elementary schools to see whether we can help younger kids out with safe
Yeah.
passage.
Have you ever heard back from what's her name? Jasmine. Yasmin. Is it Jasmine?
No,
Yasmin. Has
yeah,
she ever gotten back in touch with you in regards to Banab? She
yeah,
never.
yeah. No, I
She
mean, I
never
can follow up with
contacted you.
her. I think our specific ask was we wanted to see some of the survey
Data.
data. Yeah.
Hmm. Yeah. I didn't. I did not contact her again.
Hmm.
I think that she probably was more in the urgency was because we were going before the council about that, but you haven't
Hmm.
heard from her since that, right? Hmm.
No, I haven't.
Okay. Well, hopefully we can get some traction on that again,
Hmm.
and
Hmm.
hopefully they feel as amplified as they did before the oversight hearing.
Yep, yep.
But
I mean, I don't know if you were, I forget, were you on our meeting last month when we had, yeah, you were on the meeting last month where we had our student leader, Roxanne on, and she was talking about how, it seems like students have had some good experiences with Safe Passage, but also experiences where, they're seeing the ambassadors on their phones, not really caring about the students, just, not super engaged. So, I definitely think that there's
some
certainly
training
a goal for
needed.
some more pushing, advocating for some more
There's
oversight
actually
and engagement.
it's okay. See, the thing is this training. Um, there needs to be some training. And then sometimes it's about engagement. Some of the people who are in these programs are have to have the willingness and also the
Mhm.
professional um opportunity to work consistently in these environments, and
Mhm.
I don't think that it's a great training process before the people who are working at these particular
Mhm.
positions, and then also the pay doesn't really incentivize them. to work as hard as they would normally work.
Mhm.
So those are generally the factors. The reason why you don't always get the best people to hold these
Yeah.
positions.
Yeah.
So it's a lot of different layers to it, and if
Hmm.
the layers aren't properly addressed, you're not going to get the proper outcome. So I think that
Yeah.
sometimes people have a lot of ask, but they are not willing to invest in
Hmm.
what's
Hmm.
needed for these programs. So, but
Yeah.
they have these high expectations but low budgets.
I hear you. I hear you. It's tale as old as time.
Yes, indeed. What does it say? Beer taste and champagne budget? No, champagne taste and beer budgets. Isn't that the saying?
I haven't heard that one, but that's a good one. I'm gonna start using that. I'm gonna start using
Well, look,
that.
gentlemen, I do believe, and have I helped you as much as I can? And you know, I'm always happy to assist, Francois. Is there anything
Yeah.
else?
I think that's it. I think you're good. I know you had another engagement, so
Yes.
no worries. I think we've covered it. Yeah, just gonna chat with Nakapon about his partner application for working in a DPR space.
Well, I certainly appreciate you understanding my little rush off, but you know I try to help people in the various meetings that I can. But I pray you all have a beautiful and blessed rest of the evening. Okay.
You too. You too.
Okay. Okay.
Talk to you
Bye.
soon.
Bye.
Okay.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
All right. Nakapon, I see you came off mute.
Yes, sir. Yeah, I will pick up where we left. I'm sorry I did not respond back to your text. We've just been
You're good. I was out of the country at the beginning of this month, so yeah, I've been a little frazzled trying
yeah,
to get on
I
top of everything as I'm coming back. So let's pick up where we left off.
yes, I was also traveling, and we're actually opening a second school in Capitol Hill, so it's been like a little crazy.
Oh,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
wait,
Probably
that's so
by
exciting. Yeah.
June 1st. So we're like rushing to
Wow.
get all the lease signed and everything
That's
all
great.
out there. Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's gonna be great. It's gonna be primarily a kids location, so we're just working on two Montessori schools that are close by. Where one of my managers on the PTA board, so we're looking for a good partnership in that community, that area. It's gonna be
Yeah.
316 F Street Northeast. So we're looking to expand in different areas. But just
You should send an email to myself and Miguel and our admin um, team, which is really just Karen Lee. But yeah, we can promote it in our newsletter, even though the location is outside of ANC 1B. Since you're a business and ANC 1B, I think we'd love to promote it in our newsletter.
fantastic. I'll definitely put that on my list of things to do. Thank you.
Yeah.
In terms of the permit window has opened up again, but of course, from the last communication that we've had from DPR,
Mhm.
it sounds like initially the way that they were telling us was we would need to reserve a block of time. They only do blocks of
Mhm.
time, meaning like for rec teams, like every Monday at 6 o'clock. And we're, of course, we're not
Mhm.
obviously ready to do something like that. That we're more
Yeah.
thinking like a one-off type of project where we go, okay, we're going to do 1 2 hour thing. And then what they were saying
Mhm.
too, because when I wrote back to them about it, they're like, oh, I see you want to do a one-off thing. Well, send that to us have the ANC do it on behalf of the ANC. It's still
Yeah.
unclear that part as to if I represent the ANC and do it. But regardless,
Mhm.
I need to better understand now. So my
Mhm.
job is to try to directly contact her once again. I have a couple emails out. We just miss each other back and forth. So I'll just call her directly and try to email as much as I can, and just until they
Yeah,
until they
definitely
get back to me.
keep me looped on all those because I can try to reach out and use my great weight
Yeah.
to
Hey,
get a response. Or yeah, if you have a number, I can do some calling too. Yeah, don't feel like you're alone in this. I wanna help.
appreciate it. I'll send the first volley, the several,
Okay.
whatever they have to go out. And
Okay.
I'll copy you on everything, and that way you're in the loop. And then if we need more eyes on it or more phone calls, more harassment, then we'll go ahead and do
Yeah.
that.
Feel free to
Uh,
also loop in Miguel. You have his email, I believe.
oh, yep, yep. Okay.
Okay, yeah, just loop him in as well because he's really interested in making this happen. And, I think just having more commissioners on there, the better. That way, DPR knows that the ANC is prioritizing this.
great. They will be forced to follow up with us. So fantastic.
Exactly. Exactly. If we can't do anything else, we can at least be on email chains.
Yep. Yep.
Um,
Okay. So I will do that, and then we'll kind of we'll just stay on them, and I'll let you know where we go.
okay, yeah, let's definitely try to get it in for this window. I mean, worst comes to worst, just submit the application with the time, and we'll figure. I'm sure we could figure out the details with them later.
Okay. Got it.
Great. And then, did anything ever come of? I think you mentioned that you did end up partnering with Howard's public safety team.
We spoke with the chief of Howard University
Mhm.
Police. We had a meeting with them. They want to work with us a little bit more closely. I think what it is going to be a series of self-defense seminars for their
Mhm.
students and their staff members. And yeah, we're just do that just to kind of perhaps raise awareness of self-defense and then let them know that we're
Yeah.
also in the area if they some students want to come there. And I think that's just going to be the
Mhm.
start of it. They're really interested in working a little bit more close together, so let's baby step it. Let's do a couple things and see how they work out, and if they're well received, then we can always think about doing more. So
Yeah.
that is one of the big positive things that came out of just being connected to this group. So thank you very much, and hopefully
Yeah.
we
I'm really
can
so happy to hear that.
help everybody out there.
Yeah. No, it's great to make these connections, and I do think, yeah, the venue that these meetings and the ANC provides is really helpful for you know two groups in the community could really use each other's help, but they don't know that they exist, or they haven't been introduced. So I'm really happy. This is like a great example of things working out in that way. So that's awesome.
The police chief Taylor, he is also former MPD, and so we talked to him about
Yes, yeah,
connecting with MPD. So he said, "Oh, great, I'll direct you to some people as well." So it's just a really good way for all of us to get connected and to improve the public safety in our area. So
yeah,
thank you again for
yeah, totally. And I know you had mentioned trying to work directly with MPD on some of the martial arts, because I do feel like, especially in a nightlife area, a lot of the a lot of the situations we're having are people who are getting involved in fights, and then it's like, how do you properly restrain people in a fight or separate them? I don't know how to do that. It seems difficult, but certainly, we want to make sure that our police are trained to handle those situations, because it does seem like those are some of the most common public safety risks in a
yeah.
nightlife area like ours.
Hopefully, we're always reaching out. They have a new 3D commander, so I'm going to try to get down there and shake some hands
Yes,
and talk
Commander
to people.
Connors.
Yep, yep. We'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see what's going on. We were very close at one point to making jujitsu a integral part of their defensive tactics program at the academy,
Wow.
directly at the academy. But
Mhm.
the leadership changed hands, and it kind of got restarted all over again, and we lost traction there. But we are convinced that it is very important for law enforcement to learn, also to make them more capable, but also sometimes people get
Mhm.
excited, they get hot-headed, and sometimes when everything looks like when all you have is a hammer, then everything looks like a nail. So hopefully we can give them some other tools to work with.
Yeah.
But I'm confident that
Yeah.
we do continue to hammer away and continue to meet more people, it'll eventually happen one day. So
Totally. Well, definitely the 3D CIC meetings, the commander is almost always there. So I
I'm gonna
think,
plan to be at the next one.
yeah, I think this month I will be in town. So I will also try to be at the next one. And maybe that way, yeah, we can talk to him together. But, I will say those meetings are one of the best ways to just interface one-on-one off the record with MPD police officers, the commander, because they are all there, and usually I would say there's some great chatting. There's a lot of good discussions during the meeting, and then there's a lot of great opportunities to just talk about issues after the meeting.
It
So
also serves as a good barometer for how everybody in the neighborhood is feeling sometimes, right? So, yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Great. Well, is there anything else we want to discuss? Gene, I see you in the audience. I want to give you a chance to speak if there's anything you want to report out on from the world of our business community in the area.
Hello. I don't have anything specific. I'm actually in Nashville at a
Okay.
Responsible Hospitality Institute conference where I'm going to come back with lots of fun ideas that we
Mhm.
won't do.
Awesome. I know you've mentioned that organization several times. It sounds like they do some very good work.
Well, it's really there's not a lot of operators here. It's a conference of
Mm.
mostly government
Hmm.
people, and
Interesting.
this one is in Nashville, and it's focused on supporting live music and
Yeah,
various tactics that other cities have taken. Obviously, Nashville is a music city, and so is
totally.
Austin, and so is Seattle, and
How do we make DC more of a live music city?
by saying it. I
By what?
Francois by saying it.
By
Francois, I
saying
can't
it.
tell you how many times I have
Yeah.
testified before the council and said, "We will be a music city when you all say we are."
Mm.
And
Mhm.
when we claim that mantle, the council will start writing more user-friendly legislation around parking for musicians. You know, they're struggling. They're not like I'm not
Mhm.
talking about people coming to the 930 Club, but definitely people that are coming to Atlantis.
Mhm.
They're not, national bands. So it's all about supporting the ecosystem. So yes, that's why I'm here.
Mhm.
Boy, I wish I could have gotten some DC people here, but the next year it's
Mhm.
in Philadelphia, and maybe we can make a
Oh,
plan
oh.
because it's just up the road. But yeah, I've been participating in best practices, and really that's what it's about. It's about best practices in mixed use neighborhoods, and that's all we build in
Yeah.
DC anymore. So anyway, yeah,
Yeah.
maybe that'll be my legacy is after I retire, some other people will go to these conferences. But
Well,
anyway, so yeah.
yeah. I mean, it
Uh,
is super interesting, I will say, just because, as we're trying to build out cities more and build more mixed use neighborhoods, obviously this is a huge priority and people want to live in cities. We want to be able to provide amenities near people so that, they can walk, to go to the store or go to a concert or something like that. It is really important to figure out how do we navigate the relationship between bars and nightlife and residences and other types of businesses,
right,
like that relationship just becomes even more important, and sort of the laws and the rules and the um, negotiations, like those
right,
all become super critical for allowing those neighborhoods to grow.
exactly.
Yeah.
So I just learned about Seattle, just passed
Mhm.
a regulation around parking, and it only costs a music operator, and you have to define what a music operator is. It's not somebody that has karaoke on Monday nights. It's
Mhm.
somebody who is invested in paying bands
Mhm.
a reasonable pay, and that is, the support the ecosystem of doing live music, the sound, the equipment, the front of house, people who
Mhm.
know how to run that equipment is not inexpensive. So there's a whole ecosystem to it. But Seattle passed this thing where musicians, a venue can pay $250 a year for
Mhm.
actually a loading zone, a real loading zone, paint it, enforce the whole thing 24 7 hours a day in front of music
Wow.
venues in order to
That's awesome.
support that. And Bill Spieler he's been trying for years to get
In
something to
DC.
help him. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's as simple as I know this is around public safety, this meeting, but it's all a part of the ecosystem of what we do.
Yeah.
And so anyway, and so his bands
Yeah.
have to load in and then they have to go find parking in the neighborhood somewhere, and it's
I'm
a
sorry, Bill
struggle.
Spieler, who's
Bill
he?
Spieler at DC9.
DC. Oh, yes. Oh, Bill. Yes, of course. Okay. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah.
DC9.
Bill.
And
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
just a
yeah,
tiny example. They got the same H Street, all these places that try to do live music as 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 one, a part of their makeup and what they do.
yeah. Yeah.
But anyway, so yeah, we
Yeah.
fight the good fight and we keep fighting it, and
I
and
hear
I
you.
appreciate what you all do because we all have to do it together.
Yeah, we'll never hesitate to give us some more ideas to fight for. Certainly,
Well,
if we need parking spaces for anything, I would love them to go for some live music to support some live music.
Well, it's all just a matter of getting people to sit down at a table, but I think
Mhm.
we all know DDOT, it's its own little fiefdom. We all have our challenges. But
Uh,
anyway, that's all. I don't have anything really to report back on. The bid is
yeah.
starting to send out petitions. So when I get back, I'll be reaching out to some of the smaller businesses and trying to get them to sign on, and we'll see where it
Mhm.
goes. We're up against a deadline in terms of the council, goes on recess, and so they don't accept any
Got it.
anything between I think it's June 15th and September 15th. So the goal
Okay.
is mostly to get the paperwork done this year.
Wow, but it sounds like it's actually going to happen. That's
We're
great.
working on it. We'll see. We'll see what happens.
I have one very quick question before we call it a day. It seems like several businesses in the area closed recently. We lost the Kava and we lost Warby
Yep.
Parker. Do you know what caused those businesses to close and whether we should expect more to go by the wayside?
Well, we also lost Compass Coffee down
Oh,
8th Street, and
yep.
um, so no, I don't have any insight other than these are national chains,
Sure.
and
Yeah.
they were able to say this isn't profitable, and
Hmm.
they can absorb the losses.
Sure.
So that's
Yeah.
all I know. I don't. I know that Howard did have a meeting while you were gone, and they have none of their developers are
Hmm.
going have any plans to break ground, and that anytime soon. There's
Mm.
nothing on the books. Nobody's
Yeah,
looking at
everything's
anything.
slowed down in DC.
Everything is stopped,
Yeah.
and that includes the CVS.
The what?
The CVS.
Oh. Mm.
So, I'm gonna say just from being old and being around a few minutes, I'm gonna say it's gonna be probably 2 years before anybody breaks ground. Just a guess. Don't quote
Mhm.
me, but that's my they're not committing.
Mm.
And as much as I would love to see a hotel, because I think that would generate some,
Oh,
they're,
we
they
don't have many hotels around here. Yeah.
I don't understand that
Yeah.
because, I don't know, why Howard University, where do their where do people stay when they come to visit the students, their parents,
Yeah. Yeah.
homecoming, all that stuff?
Mm.
And they used to have to, I mean, for years, the closest thing was Walter Reed. There was a
Mm.
hotel up there that basically catered to people visiting people in Walter Reed. But that,
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
there's just no, you know,
Yeah.
infrastructure for the students.
Yeah.
So
Did you
anyway,
get a sense of why, development has stopped? I've heard various theories and
because
reasons.
there's lots
Obviously
and
not just
lots of
DC, but
empty
Mhm.
storefronts, empty apartments. The a lot of the condos, projected condos became apartments, rentals, and yeah, it's because nobody's there.
Mm.
I don't, Francois, we just are not, like all of the city is focused on the wharf, Navy Yard, and now we've got the new construction on the east
Hmm.
with the stadium. And
Yeah. Yeah.
I've been
Those
for
areas
20,
are thriving, but everywhere else seems there's
well,
not that
what's
much.
the city doing for us? What kind of focus is the city? They're just taking tax dollars from the businesses that are still around. What's coming
Mhm.
back to us? I'm asking, literally, this is not a rhetorical question.
Lots of
What?
police on U Street at night.
Well, but see, that's over time, it's costing a
Yeah.
ridiculous amount of money. That needs to be rethought. I
Hmm.
mean, but these things happen in a vacuum so often. We're not invited into the conversation,
Mm.
and we aren't. Government is not agile, and
Sure.
once they start doing something, they almost don't know how to stop. You know.
Yeah.
So, and that was one of the things that, I've tried talking to Matthew Marcoux at DDOT around, the resolution you all passed, and like, can we just try something, a pilot program, something, and
Mm.
I don't know. So, yeah.
Yeah.
Just keep
Yeah.
fighting the good fight, all y'all. That's all I can say.
Well, with those words, I think that's a great place to end our meeting. Um, we'll hear from Julia soon with a draft on the safe passage resolution. And Nakapan, definitely be in touch on the application with DPR. Copy me and Miguel on all those emails, and we can keep fighting the good fight on your behalf to get
All right.
government to work for you,
For all of us.
for all of us.
We
Yes,
are a,
not just
we are
Nakapan,
a
this is for all of
community.
us.
We
Yeah,
are a community. We are not, it's not us against you and residents against whatever.
sure.
It's come down to that in a lot of cases, especially around 1900 block. But we got to figure it out. We can't,
I hear
we got to figure it out
no
somehow.
one's going anywhere.
It
Not
is.
anytime soon.
Right. All right. Well, thank you very much. You all have a great, and I'll be back in town next week, and
Sounds
we'll see
good.
you. All right.
Yeah, great. All right.
Good
Talk to you all
night.
later. Good night.